grab my camera. Whoops. Alright. Keep that off. Subscribers, chat replay, and okay, hello everybody. I have some long conversation to discuss. I want to say, I know that I had done a video yesterday. I was frustrated with Kreekcraft because he was I felt like he was defending Roblox after I had just read their hideous response to the lawsuit from the Louisiana Attorney General. And as a former Robloxian, because I left playing Roblox for over a year, and I shared many videos why. But because I'm an itsy bitsy little bitty channel, I didn't have much visibility. But I want to revisit some of the things that I had covered before because there's a lot of stuff going on, and you might see it in various platforms. I want to say straight up out the gate here that I'm really thankful, very thankful that basically Kreekcraft announced, I think on the 14th, that he was leaving the star program with Roblox. Now, Kreekcraft, in case you're not familiar, because I know I have a lot of I have a lot of viewers, because Gamer was a small part of my channel, but a lot of viewers who may not be familiar with Kreekcraft. He has about 13.3 million subscribers, and he's a big channel. And so Flamingo is somebody that I had quoted before, because Flamingo is like really the only one that I saw that was really calling out Roblox, who also plays Roblox, and I think he has like 20 million subscribers. So anyways, I think it's a really big thing that Kreekcraft announced today, okay, that he's like, look, I have done it. I have left the star program with Roblox. And what that means is that basically he has lost a part of his income, because yeah, he did get money from Roblox, and that was a part of his income. So that was, to me, that was a really big thing that he did. And I can't, I think I started crying. I was so glad to see that a big YouTuber like him did the right thing and left Roblox star program. But he said he's still going to keep playing. He is still going to keep playing Roblox videos. So I'm praying for him that, that he will find something else to do, basically. Because look, the bottom line is he was like, he played him when he started his YouTube channel. He was still a kid, and he started playing, I think it was Minecraft, and then he eventually switched over to Roblox, and he became this big YouTuber, and he became in the star program with Roblox. So it's kind of a big thing, what he did to leave. Hang on, I'm trying to get my chat open, so I apologize. I need to find my videos. I'm not showing that I'm live, so I want to make sure that I am live. Nope, I'm not showing that I'm live. Well, that's a problem. Oh, there I am. Okay. Alright, hang on a second. Okay, so basically, here's the deal. I want to go in and have this conversation because I know there's a lot of parents all over the internet that are commenting about this. So this is not just about the lawsuit from Louisiana. So this is something I did back in 2022. And, I feel like I'm probably shadow banned by YouTube because I call them out on the scammy stuff that they've done to kids. And I've been calling them out for a while. And I'm like, you know what, whatever, YouTube. I'm going to keep calling it for what it is, right? But then I did this one. This one was last April 2024. And I think this is about the time that I left playing Roblox, because I used to play Roblox, and I did have a little bit of a community, Roblox community. Somebody created a game for me. I created my own game. I have a group on there, and I've got Robux just sitting there, and I haven't even used them. And I used to do like giveaway Robux, and it's part of my giveaways and stuff. And and I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun on Roblox, and I kind of miss playing some of those games, because Roblox, in case you're not familiar, used to be pretty much an all-kid platform, but then they started shifting, the graphics started evolving, and they started luring in a lot of adults to the platform. So now it's kind of like a third of it is like adults. But the problem is they're increasing that platform to be have a lot of adult stuff on it. For example, it's basically they just introduced dating onto Roblox, and the problem with that is you literally have virtual sexual activity in these games. Okay, this is a platform that has many millions of children on it that you should not have. They should have a separate platform for that kind of activity and those kinds of games. So I'm with Kreekcraft on that. They shouldn't even have that, right? But here's my biggest thing, and I'm going to be calling out people, and I'm talking about legislators. I'm talking about the Chris Hansen, the guy. If you've watched the documentaries To Catch a Pedophile or To Catch a Predator, the Chris Hansen who did that show is now working on a documentary against Roblox, okay, and investigating Roblox. And they have he has kind of done the same thing he did in his show To Catch a Predator with some of the YouTubers, with Schlep, the big deal about Schlep, used some of the Robloxians who are also YouTubers to catch predators in the same way he did on his show. So what happened was there were people in these games, and they suspected that they were an adult who was preying on a young child. So then they started like trying to set up a meeting with a fake person who wasn't really young, in the same way that Chris Hansen did in his like show. And so he's like, okay, they like target somebody like by their voice and by the things they're saying, that they're, you know, a certain age. They believe this person's a predator. So they would try to set up a meeting with them outside the platform of Roblox and get personal information and, you know, exchange phone numbers and all this other stuff. The problem with that's against Roblox rules. And what if that person wasn't even really the age they said? Because a lot of kids pretend to be older, and they even use voice filters, and then you have adults using voice filters pretending to be little kids. It's so bad. It's such a mess over there. But so what if you had actually targeted a child who was pretending to be an adult, and then you're trying to lure them off the platform? That's why Roblox is like, look, we get what you're doing, that, you know, your intention is good, but you broke the rule. So, but I felt like they should not have banned him. They're like, suspend him or something, but I just felt they were exceptionally harsh. Meanwhile, they have a lot of predators who are literally now sex convicted for preying on children on the platform, and their accounts are still there. It's like, you know, there's some crazy stuff like that going on. So then there's a lot of parents like, okay, this is a problem because their children loves playing on Roblox, right? And so I think that they're not aware of some of the things that's happening. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about a lot of different things that's going on Roblox that parents may not be aware of. And as a person who used to play on the platform, you know, some of the things that I encountered, some of the things I witnessed. And like, for example, here's some of my emails. I have emailed about, you know, these fake ads going on YouTube, because they're paying YouTube to advertise. And you'll go back and you look at my Roblox and other games playlist on my channel, and you'll see under every single one of my videos I had ads for Roblox. And I felt like it was wrong for YouTube to like just basically fraud these little kids who are consumers of Roblox. So I contacted Roblox about these scammy videos. And by the way, I just found one literally today. I found yet another ad on YouTube about a little kid throwing a temper tantrum because he was out of Robux, and telling the child, don't worry about it, go to this site here and sign up for this, download this app, and then you can get free Robux. I mean, they're still targeting little children as of today, you know, August 16, 2025. And I like saved a copy of that video to show to the attorney generals that, you know, YouTube and Roblox both are exploiting little kids, and it's not okay. And they literally just had a lawsuit about this, and they're supposed to stop targeting little kids for these kinds of ads. But anyways, these ads they don't care. They're getting money for these ads. But anyways, this is a video I did in 2022, and this is an email, okay? This is an email that I had from I got an email from both Roblox and YouTube. And this was back in 2022. Okay. And I shared links to videos. Flamingo, who is, I think he's got like 20 million subscribers now, was even somebody who called that out, right? And as you can see how this ad is under all of my videos, right? So, I've been calling this out. I've been calling this out for a long time. Like I wasn't even partnered with YouTube at this time, and I'm still having these emails. Anyways, so this was back in April 2024. There were lawsuits going. There was 3 Roblox class action lawsuits, and Fortnite was also sued. Okay, so this is something that's been going on for a long time, and I don't want people to think like, oh, this stuff that's happening with the Louisiana Attorney General, these stuff that these politicians are doing, to me, it's just like pandering for votes. I don't even think they're sincere, because this has been going on for so long. Where were they then? So I'm calling them out too. I'm just like, excuse me, let me show you something. I want to show y'all something. This is what Roblox has. They have said, okay, let me go to Kreekcraft's video. I think I have it in here. Where is his video? Okay, here he is. So he said right here that he announced on the 14th that he was going to lead the Roblox Star program. And he did. He left the Roblox Star program. So this is him. He's got 13.3 million subscribers. And I am so thankful that he did this. I am really thankful for that. But his whole life, like since he was a kid, I think he's in his 20s now. He's been playing since he was a teen, Roblox, and that's how he built his YouTube channel. So all of his income, I don't think he went to college. I could be wrong. Maybe he did. He didn't. I don't know. But this is his life bread. This is his income to get money off of these YouTube videos, which is all Roblox, Roblox, Roblox. The biggest YouTubers are Robloxians. Mr. Beast, yeah, he's a Robloxian. Okay, that's not what his whole channel was about, but I'm just saying he also has a gaming channel. Okay, so a lot of big YouTubers are Robloxians. And so you have these adults who are big YouTube channels, and so they have a lot of influence over little kids. And so I was mad at him like yesterday when he was like trying to defend, Roblox, like they're trying to admit stuff. I'm like, they had released a hideous denial of doing anything wrong. And I was so mad about it, because my main thing was this right here. There are many states who 18 is the legal age for sexual consent. Now, some of the sexual consent may be actual intercourse, but a lot of them is like, you're grooming them from a relationship. You're trying to induce a relationship. You're trying to have, even sexting or having sexual conversations with them, leading up to that. All of that falls under statutes, and every state is different. But here's my issue, okay, with Roblox. Like, they just think they're king, okay? They think they're king, and so I'm like, that's not okay. They're not king. And what I mean by that is, look at here. This is another channel who is sharing the policies of YouTube. This is Chase Rooney. He's got a little over 1 million subscribers. And so he's talking about, this is what Roblox is saying, and this is August 15th. So this is, to me, what I'm reading, this is how I translate it. I'm reading a confession from Roblox of criminal behavior. This is what I see when I read this, and this is why. It says blocking users under 17 from social hangouts with private spaces and experiences primarily set in private spaces, aka sexual games, like little virtual, like that's what they're doing. They're having like virtual intercourse, if you will, okay? And they've taken sexting or whatever to a whole other level. Now it's virtual, okay? And so they're creating their own legal age of consent for the world. And I'm just like, okay, well, first of all, we the people, we vote our legislators into office, and they decide what the legal age of consent is. But Roblox is like, yeah, well, we in our legal team don't care, because we got the money, and we don't care about your legislators. We decide what the legal age of consent is. And what makes me so angry is this is a huge corporation with stock and a lot of politicians and people invested in Roblox. And that is why you're seeing that they're not addressing this. So you have an attorney general who's suing them, treating their criminal behavior as if it's civil. I'm like, excuse me. Until I see all of these people prosecuting Roblox for soliciting minors to go into these games where these activities are happening in violation of the legal age of consent in many states, the fakety, fakety, fake, fake, fake. And that includes Chris Hansen. He's somebody who is making money off of catching predators, which is good. Somebody's catching predators, that's good, but you're making a show out of it. You're making money off of it, and you're stepping up and you're like, oh, I can make me some money. I'll go make a documentary. And I'm not hearing nothing about how Roblox is committing crimes. They literally are. But they're going after predators. They want to expose the predators that's on this platform. But excuse me, let's start with this policy here, where you're setting the age for 17. You have people from around the world who's going into these games, and they think in their minds that, okay, well, this person's in here, that means they're 17. And they're only addressing going after the younger children that are like, admitting that they're under 17. When in reality, what they're doing is they're basically hiding the bigger crime, and that is Roblox. And all their people who are setting these policies are violating the law of many state legislators who said, no, you can't have no sexual activity unless you're 18. And I don't care if people don't agree with those laws. It is the laws that's in writing. So this is what's happening. And so it says private spaces are defined as enclosed spaces that meet both of the following criteria. Designed for activities that are personal and secluded, sleeping, changing clothes, bathing. They kind of exclude the sexual activity from that. That's not okay, because there's many videos, even though they kind of blurted out what's happening, that's what's happening, right? And they totally excluded that from this. They're not even owning that that's on there. Okay. Designed for one person or for a very small number of people. Bathroom stall. They're talking about the bathroom games where people are naked. So they don't even talk about the art games where people are drawing body parts in great detail that I have sent pictures of to Roblox. And that's one of some of the emails that I just showed you in another video that I, was complaining to them about. I'm like, I gave you the links, I shared the pictures with you, you don't need anything more. And I hovered over the art display to show who was actually the artist, and they could have went in and banned those people, but they didn't. It's like they're so deceptive, and parents have no idea. And let me tell you something. Hello. So people who think that it's parents' fault that they don't know. They don't even know what's happening on Roblox to even be fair to judge parents, because unless you're sitting next to that child every second of the time that they're on there, they still don't know what they're like. They have no idea. And it's not the parents' fault. Like, yes, parents should be very aware of what's happening, especially if the kids are sneaking in their rooms at night where their parents are asleep and they're up on Roblox or where other places online. Y'all be doing that, right? People do that. That happens. But parents don't know that. Here's what happens when you go onto Roblox. In case you've never been onto Roblox, you have a big screen and it's got a bunch of thumbnails of different types of games that you can go and join. And a lot of times, the picture and the thumbnail is completely not what is in that game. When you click that button on that thumbnail and you go in there, it's like, okay, this is totally not what was advertised. That happens a lot. Or, keep in mind, it is, players who are creating these games, and they don't have any description whatsoever what the game is about. I personally developed the game, and I have a very long description of what's in that game, right? But a lot of the games, a lot of them, it doesn't have any description. It just may have a picture of, like, I don't know, obbies, or like maybe hangout, or maybe pictures of pets, or something cute little picture, or maybe just a picture of a scenery, and you have no idea. It's just like, it's so random, and you don't know what you're going to get into until you click that button. And that's a part of the problem. They're not monitoring all these games who don't have the description in them. Okay? So the biggest problem that I have with Roblox is they think they're king. and they think that they can set the age of sexual activity and mature content, and that means, like, for example, if somebody's going into these areas where they're not just changing clothes and bathing and sleeping, and they'll have naked avatars in there, okay, they're having virtual sex. I'm just gonna say it. Okay, they're doing the naughty. All right, and so that's not even in the description. How are parents supposed to know, right? So another thing that I think needs to happen and has greatly fallen, and this is long overdue, and I've been preaching this for a long time, is age categorization of games. For example, remember when Sims first came out, or other games when they came out on like DVD discs that you would get in like a package that you buy at the store or whatever, and it would have a rating on there for adult or teen or whatever. When you go to movies in America, it's going to be rated G, which means general audience, it's safe for little kids. PG, meaning parental guidance is needed. PG-13 means, for more mature child. And rated R. And rated R is usually including sexual activity, drugs, and violence. Those are the three main things that makes a movie rated R, and that means you cannot go see that movie until you're 18. Well, not legally, right? Okay, so TV is the same way. So you have games, TV, and movies who all have ratings. But what happened when the internet came out and these online game platforms is they lost the categorization. And so now they have a huge platform with many, many, many millions of people that are on it. And now it's not just kids. It's growing rapidly, the amount of adults that goes on Roblox. I never even like heard of Roblox. I didn't go on Roblox until like a couple years ago. And so it took me a little while, and here's what I did. When I first started going on Roblox, I was a game reviewer, and you can go and see through all my list of Roblox and other games. I reviewed games. That's what I did. I would go into many different games on Roblox that I thought might be family friendly. My personal goal and mission was I wanted to promote games that were family friendly, because I feel like there's so much presentation of violence in games that, as a Christian and just as family friendly, you don't have to have the violence or any of that other stuff to make games fun. There's many, many millions of games on Roblox, and a lot of them are very fun and entertaining. And so I would go and I would review games, and I also, on Roblox, I would look for Christian games. There's actual ministries. There's places that's for like Bible studies and hangouts and Christian hangouts. There's literally church. They literally have created replicas of churches in church games. Like they literally, when COVID, especially when the pandemic was happening, they had people that were like having church services on Roblox. And I went through a lot of church games and Bible quiz games and anything that was Christian related. And I went and tried to find every family friendly game that was actually fun, and I did reviews on those games. And so then, I kind of found my favorite games on Roblox and I played them for fun. But then I started seeing some really toxic, bad stuff. And I started watching other bigger YouTubers that was, Robloxians. And I was like, wow, there's really a problem. And being the activist that I am, especially when it comes to legal stuff, I started being proactive. I started collecting evidence of like, hey, I'm seeing a game that has so many servers and so many players. It's a huge game, meaning millions play it. There's some games that don't get that much traffic, but some games are very popular. And like Spray Paint was one of those games. And I'm just like, okay, there's a problem. You don't have moderation. You've got art is something that is very visible. You have little children going in there, and you have a lot of very perverted things being painted and then a lot of just trolls, but this was not appropriate because little children were in there. So I started collecting pictures, and I'd hover over it and show the user's name, and I would email it to Roblox thinking, okay, well, they'll deal with this. But that's not what happened. And then even the director of Roblox admitted that they were basically making their moderation, like if you email and complain to them, you're not even going to get a person. They're using AI. And so I would, in my emails, I would like say, look, let me talk to a person, because I'm talking to a bot basically. And so eventually I would get a person, and they're like, they would assure me that they were a human, because otherwise I'm just like not even feeling it. And so they're like, okay, well, we thank you for your help, and give us, more evidence. I'm like, look, I sent you the pictures. It shows the user's name. Deal with it. You don't need anything more from me, right? And but it just went on and on. But here was another thing that was a big problem. Some of them kids are bullies, like straight up, especially like the teens. They don't want adults in their game platform. They're either one of two things. They're either very resentful and mean, and they're picking on adults like, why are you in here? You must be a pervert because you're over 20, basically. And they're mean to adults. I'm like, okay, that's not cool, because Roblox is taking money, and plus you have the biggest YouTubers are adults, right? And you have senior citizens on Roblox, right? There's there's gamers who are like Grandma Gamer or whatever, I forget what her channel name is, but you have senior citizens who are gamers. And it's just, this is the world we live in now. And so, but on Roblox, you have kids who are like, for the longest time, it was just kids. And now they're very resentful that Roblox is now luring in by the millions adults into the platform. You have corporations like Walmart and food companies are now making their own games, and it's a big thing to sell merch on Roblox. So now they're creating these. They made it to where now you can cuss on Roblox. It used to be if you said a cuss word, you would get muted, and then you could be banned too, just for profanity, because it's supposed to be a family friendly for little kids. But as the increase of adults happened on Roblox, little kids starting, like, they felt either very leery of adults because, like, well, I don't know if that adult's a pervert, or if they're, I don't know, or they're just mean to them. And then there was the passing of the voice chat. You had to be 13 to get on voice chat, but kids, they be getting on there anyways. But even if they're not eligible for being able to talk to others, they're still in an environment of adults. So just imagine if your child goes out into public and they just walk up to a group of adults who are just hanging out, and cutting up, doing whatever they're doing. You're still seeing things that they're doing, whether you can talk to them or not. You know what I'm saying? You're still hanging out with them, and it's just not appropriate. So what they really need to do with Roblox is they need to give ratings of the game, and they need to have, just like they do movies, just like Sims, EA Sims franchise, for example, they have the teen rating because of, although apparently lately I have stated that, they've had some really problematic things with adult Sims walking around nude, including townies, in front of kids, and you've got little kids playing Sims because it's downloaded for free. Even though you're supposed to be a teen to play, they have no monitoring that whatsoever. Anybody can download and sign up, right? And so, but they're supposed to be teen, okay? But so for that example, they give a specific rating on being allowed to play the game. So this is what's happening on Roblox. You've got a lot of 18 and older, 17 and older, in violation of many states' laws. Okay, they are deciding that they're king, and they can say that the age of. But see, here's what they're doing. They're not saying that they're sexual content. They're just acting like that's not happening. But they know it's happening. They know very much that it's happening. There's many people with videos that it's happening. They literally have videos of it happening, even though they're like blurring out. But they know. So here's the thing, though. They need to have 18 and older games that kids cannot go into, and then they need to have games for little kids that's only for that age group. And if you sign up and you give your age when you sign up and get your Roblox account, you cannot go in those rated G games, because there are parents, like, they know what games their kids are playing, and they're like, their kids are not supposed to be going into other games, right? But even in the little bitty games that's only for little, that even though it's not like keeping out adults. Games that generally is for little kids, adults can go into. So there's no safe space for children on Roblox, and that needs to change. They need to separate at least some of the games. Like, it needs to be 18 and older, not 17 and older for mature content, 18 and older, okay? And then they need to have a younger group that is just for little kids, that excludes adults, right? And so that way, kids can have their space where there's no adults, and adults can have their space where there's no little kids. That's the way it's supposed to be. Because honestly, I'll give you an example. I was in an art game, and I didn't get mad about it, but I'm sitting there and I'm talking with a college student who had some really awesome art skills. And there was really some great artists, like just phenomenal, like professional artists are in these games. And they're just amazing. Like, they blow my mind. I love to watch them do their art, right? So, but then in the same environment, and I was like, you have like this professional level, supposed to be professional level of the game. So you have to have so many hours in the game. And I think they changed that to where you had so many likes or followers, or you had to have so many likes. You had to actually be an artist, basically, to get in there, or have at least a little bit. You had to have so many likes to get in there, to get into that professional level or whatever. Anyways, but even before they did that, there's still a lot of little kids in there. Okay, it used to be it was just the time in game. I think it was like 20 hours. Once you have 20 hours in the game, then you can go into the pro side, right? And so there's these little kids in there, and they have the voice chat. And so I'm having a conversation with another adult fellow artist, right? And so this teenager, I guess, is listening to us or whatever, and decides that we're nice people, and just like, here, talk to my little sibling or whatever, who was like, I think 4 years old. Like, literally, you could tell was a little bitty tiny kid that, like, just was not wanting to babysit their sibling anymore. And it's like, I'm gonna drop this kid off right here. I'm gonna hand the phone to this kid, and this kid's gonna sit here and talk to these people because they seem like they're nice, and I'm gonna go over here and do my thing. And then some didn't even ask us, just like drop their kid off. And I'm like, and so this little kid has got the voice chat and is just yakety yak 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 yak, like and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm glad that they made good judgment on who we are, because just imagine if that was some creep, yik yakking with a little kid. And it's there's little kids in there. So just imagine if you're a homeowner and you have a pool in America, you're not going to be able to get insurance if you don't have a fence around it, right? Because in the courts, they find that that's called the attractive nuisance doctrine, which basically means if you create a hazard that kids going to be sneaking in that pool when you're not looking, because you ain't got a fence or anything around it, then you're going to be liable. And in a way, it's kind of not fair. It's like, well, they're trespassing on my property. They jumped in my pool. How am I to blame? Because of the attractive nuisance doctrine. It's like, it's reasonably expected that kids are going to be attracted to that pool. So you have to put a fence around it, right? It's just the way the law works. So it's the same thing. You have this Roblox platform, and you have millions of kids, and they built that platform for kids, and then you started infiltrating and slowly, gradually adding more and more adults, and now predators are on the loose. And you do not have kids separated from the adults. You don't have games age categorized like the rest of society age categorizes movies and music and games and toys, and everything's age categorized. And that's the principles and the standards of morals of our society. Or it was, until Roblox and other gaming platforms came about, And so it's like there's so many violent games, and that's another thing on Roblox. There are so many violent games, gory games, and those should be age categorized. So here's what Kreekcraft said. He said, okay, I'm gonna criticize Roblox where they need to be criticized, and he's wanting them to age up 17 to 18. And I'm like, okay, but really and truly, you need to call Roblox out for being the criminals that they are, for thinking that they can just act like that there's no sex going on their platform, and that they're making the age requirement 17, excluding the word sexual activity, because they know darn well that there's states that don't allow that, right? So why did they choose 17? Why? When they know 18 is the legal age in many states. Why did they do that, right? And another thing is the violence should be age categorized, and it's not. It's just gross what the kids are being exposed to, and little bitty kids. I mean, I don't even know if there's an age like limit. That I don't think they have to be a certain age to even join. I think if their parents sign them up and give them a device, I think they could be 3 years old and playing, and it's bad. I think there should be a minimum age that they can even play on Roblox, And there's a lot of games though that are for little bitty kids, but there's games though that are pretty much for all ages, that a lot of ages it's entertaining enough. It's like, for example, I'll share one game, Livetopia. I think I had so much fun in that game when the Mariah Carey, it was like Christmas time, and it was actually on my birthday, and Mariah Carey had a virtual concert, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, and I just loved Livetopia. I had so much fun there. But there's a lot of different things in that game that attracts people of different ages, like the cute little pets. Oh my gosh, that's any age, right? Those cute little virtual pets are so adorable. Like, and they're collectibles too, so that's enjoyable for all ages. And just a lot of different things, the obbies, the flying on things. So there's just so many things in these games that attracts all ages. And so they're supposed to be family friendly, but there's some games that are just, and it says in the title, it's horror. It's like, horror, like scary, like gruesome, brutal, violent, a lot of blood. I mean, why have these legislators and these politicians and these influencers, why have they not said anything about what these children are being exposed to, when the rest of society, everything's age rated? So I'm just like, okay, all you people out there making money, Chris Hansen, okay, we need to talk about the age needs to be bumped up to 18. I hope he puts that in his documentary. But then there's the blood and gore. Like, anyways, so I'm thankful that Kreekcraft, he has left the STAR program. And I'm proud of him for doing that. I'm so thankful that he did that. I hope other YouTubers, big YouTubers, will follow him. What that means, again, as I've said before, when he left the STAR program, he announced it today, August 16. He said he did it. He actually left the STAR program. And that is huge, because he's been a member of the Roblox STAR program. He gets income. Roblox pays him. He left that program. So that's a big part of his revenue that's gone. It's just gone. For principle, he left it because it was just, he can't support it. And I'm going to tell you something else. These big YouTubers who are pushing these Roblox sites, I'm going to tell you something else. Especially if you're partnered with Roblox, don't think for a second, okay, that a class action lawsuit can sue these YouTubers too. Because they're partnered with them, they're influencers, they're pushing these Roblox games, and oh yeah, they can sue not just Roblox, but they can sue these influencers too. These big YouTubers who are making all this money off of Roblox, and a big chunk of their money that they're getting from YouTube for all their views and the ads revenue and all that stuff is coming from little kids and minors. That's right. And a lot of them are adults, because there's a lot of adults that play Roblox too. But I'm just like, I hold them accountable, and the courts will also. So they need to be careful, because they need to be stepping up and saying, hey, I denounce this kind of stuff. I've seen this, and this is not okay. And like Flamingo, for example, he's called Roblox out on the scammy stuff, these scams, these free Robux, 1,000 Robux for every viewer kind of live streams. It's not even a live stream, it's a pre-recorded looped video. I did videos on those too. And taking little kids away from YouTube onto these third-party sites, and allowing those kind of ads on YouTube makes YouTube liable. And I just saw one today. There was a picture of a little kid. I think he had some teeth missing, so he was probably like, I don't know, 5, and he's sitting there, and it made me mad because this little kid was not acting. He was literally throwing a temper tantrum and crying because he was slamming his little phone or whatever on the bed because and they're saying, oh, you don't have Robux? Don't worry about it. Just go to this website. Them little kids are going to click on that link and go to that website. And there they are scamming these kids. YouTube should not be putting out ads that makes kids click on links to go to other sites. It targeted little kids because there was a little kid in the video, out of Robux. And it says, don't worry, just click on this. It was targeting little kids specifically. And that was today that YouTube did that. So it's like when you have these big YouTuber channels and they're making money off of YouTube, okay, and they're also making money off of other people that sponsor their videos, companies that sponsor their videos, plus Roblox. And don't forget, Microsoft is also partnered with Roblox, because I used to give away I have Microsoft rewards, and so I give away gift cards in my giveaways. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to be doing a giveaway soon, but I'm not going to be giving away. I'm boycotting Roblox, so I'm not going to buy. Like, what I do is if somebody wins, I will go and they have a list of the gift cards that they can choose from, and I will use my points to get that code for that gift card, whichever one that they want. And then I send it to them, the code or whatever. But I'm not going to be purchasing the Roblox gift card because I'm boycotting Roblox currently, right? I mean, until they until they own up of what is happening on their platform. Like, I'm so mad at Roblox right now. But also these channels, like, I'm really thankful that he did this, But I want people to pray for Kreekcraft too, because since he was a kid, this has been his life. He started becoming a big YouTuber. He played Minecraft, and he eventually played Roblox, and then he became a big YouTuber. And I don't think, what else could he do? This is all, you know what I mean? But he's really smart, and I feel like people pray for him that God will open doors for him to do something else and keep an audience, to keep his revenue with YouTube. He's currently, advocating with legislators, to change the laws. And so, but he said it today. He did say he left the STAR program, so he's no longer getting the, income from Roblox. But he also said, but I'm not going to stop playing Roblox videos because that's my income. That's my audience. And I feel like that's wrong, because you're still influencing other children to go to that platform. Although he could, like, be, I don't know. What can kids do to be safe on that platform, because it's that bad? If these predators are literally going into these games that are established for little kids. And here's another thing that I think people who want to judge parents over. If a child is groomed or if they're exploited, they may not tell. They may not tell. Okay? And keep in mind also, have you ever watched the videos like on YouTube where they test their children to see if they would allow a stranger to approach them, to make sure that they're not going to be kidnapped? Because they teach their kids, they talk to their kids, and they tell them, the stranger danger stuff. And yet when they test their kids, they will get in a car with a stranger before it's over with. And these are real. These are not like scripted. They're literally testing their kids. And a lot of times their kids fail. So it doesn't matter how much you talk to your kids about safety, something might be happening that parents are not aware. And a lot of times children are too ashamed or embarrassed, or they're like made something. Like, I'll give you just an example. Now, this was, I think, an older kid had sent a picture to this predator, and then the predator used that picture against him to continue to make that person do more and more and more and more things, and completely own that person because they were embarrassed about the picture. right? They made a mistake as a youth and sent a picture, and then they were going to take that picture and put it all over the internet and tormented that kid into doing horrible things before it was over with. And I can't remember, it was Schlepp that shared, or maybe it was Ruben Sim that, anyways, it was one of those YouTubers that was calling out Roblox, and that kid was so exploited before it was over with. I'm not going to tell you the things that they made that kid do, constantly tormenting them to expose the picture and like get him in trouble too for even sending the pictures. Like, and no, that kid could have went to his parents. It was like, why didn't the parents know about this stuff? People want to judge the parents. No, that's not fair. The parents aren't with their kids every second of the day. So it is people who are trying to hold them accountable and then judging them for trying to hold them accountable. I'm just like, are y'all pedophiles, like, in disguise? Because why would you judge these people for suing them? Why are these crazy people getting mad about suing Roblox and trying to blame the parents? And they don't even know what Roblox is doing. They have no idea the amount of things that Roblox has been doing. Is like, oh my goodness, stop. I'll give you an example. My goddaughter came and stayed with me. It's been a few years, and her kid was, I think, I was gonna have a baby shower for her. It was summertime, so I think she was 4. She's in the bedroom. I'm in the living room, and my goddaughter went outside, and so then I think she thought her daughter was asleep because, it was nap time. And she left her phone in the bedroom. Oh my gosh. And I'm just like, I'm hearing her talking to somebody, and I'm just like, well, she's not in there sleeping. This kid is on the phone. And I'm like, girl, who are you talking to? Oh, this guy. Oh my gosh. I let that dude have it. I didn't know who he was. And, I think he wasn't like doing anything weird with her. He just thought it was entertaining that some little kid is yik-yakking at. But I'm just like, okay, first of all, if some kid had called me, like called the last number that their parent had called or whatever, and I would be like, okay, where's your parents? Where's your mom or your dad or whatever? You know what I'm saying? But it's not okay to teach that child to sit there and yak with her like this is okay. It's not okay. He's just like, oh, this kid is going to get in so much trouble, but I'm going to sit here and enjoy this while. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? But I'm just saying that as an example, like, kids are just sneaky. She was 4 doing that, right? And so you think for a second that when parents go to bed, that their kids aren't getting on these devices and going into these places? So how is that parents' fault? Look, I snuck out the window one time when I was a teenager. My parents are not to blame for that. Like, they're not to blame for that. I'm the sneaky kid that did it. Okay? Right? But if I was out and something bad had happened to me, maybe some predator or whatever, I can't imagine people judging my parents. Like, well, your kids are asking me kids, look, I snuck out the window. I mean, I did that, right? And so kids are doing stuff like this when their parents are asleep and they're going online. All right? And on YouTube, I don't think a lot of streamers like say in their stream, look, I'm not going to take tips from you if you're under 18. I just don't hear people doing that. Some of them are. But this is what YouTube did too. And YouTube is a problem because they have these scammy ads that's exploiting children. Okay, scamming little kids. And saw one just today. And then they have live streams set up to where people are making income off of tips and not setting, like, for example, they made changes several years ago where kids cannot get comments on their videos. But little kids with the same account that they can't get comments on are going into live streams. Because I can click on somebody that shows up in my live stream, or if I'm a moderator of somebody in another live stream and I click on it and I go to their channel, and I can't like comment on their videos because they're kids, they're little kids, and it's like, why are they in live streams? Visibility and shout outs is what they get in streams when they tip these big YouTubers, and that's not okay. Like, why is the point of taking away the ability of kids to grow their channel by getting comments, which pushes them in the algorithm? Like, what is the point to hack their ability, to completely cut them off from getting comments, if you're going to let them go into live streams and comment with adults and hang out with adults? Like, how is that okay? So really and truly, YouTube is doing the same thing in a way that Roblox is doing, although, the stuff that's going on Roblox is just off the hook. Off the hook. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got out of there when I did, because now they've got even worse stuff in there, and they're just openly, like I showed you in this, they're establishing that this is okay activity. They know, although they're not admitting the actual sexual stuff that's happening, virtual sexual stuff that's happening. Hey, Alfonso. So what's happening in these secluded games on Roblox that's set for 17 and older, even though in many states the age is 18 and older, they're acting like they're king, and they can set the age to 17 and just criminally solicit minors to basically have sex virtually with adults, and they're not of the illegal age of consent. But what they're classifying this as, these games where they have naked avatars in bathroom stalls, and they're changing clothes and baiting and all this other stuff. Okay, these secluded stuff, they're basically all
for activities that are
all this right here. They are basically really not sharing what's actually happening. Like I said before, this is not what is happening in these types of games. There's people going in there, and their avatars, or they're having virtual, visual, sexual activity. It's like taking sexting to a whole other level. But they also have chat, and they have chat like where you can type messages to each other, and also voice chat. So, and they're not putting a limit on the things they can say like they used to. If you said one cuss word, you could get muted by the AI monitor on Roblox. Will mute somebody if they're cussing, or supposed to. But now it's like, if you're in this type of game, you can say pretty much anything you want. So, and they know this, and they know that all this types of conversations are happening in these games, and yet they're like, well, as long as they're 17, we don't care. But again, the problem with that is, in different states, sexual intercourse and these statutes will depend specifically, like if you're grooming a child, or you're having, the conversation about it, or inviting them to that. All of that falls under these statutes, that they are not able to consent until they're 18. So why is it that Roblox gets to act like they're king and change the law to be, oh, well, we say it should be 17. And, well, we are the billionaires, so we get to decide what's what. We don't care that your legislators have passed these laws. We don't care that the voters have put these legislators in office to create these laws. We're the ones with the money, so we rule the land. And, so we're going to do what we want. And then you have politicians a lot of the politicians are investors. And so Roblox has stock. And so they have these legislators, attorney generals, and none of them, even the FBI, none of them are holding Roblox accountable for, this is a confession. Right here, what I'm seeing right here, this is them saying, hey, we don't care that the 18 is the legal age of consent. We say it should be 17. FBI can prosecute Roblox for this right here. But what makes me mad about Chris Hansen, the Chris Hansen, who started the To Catch a Predator show, is now going to create a documentary about what's happening on Roblox. None of them who have been setting up sting operations to catch these predators on Roblox, taking people, getting their personal information in violation of Roblox policy, and then luring them away from, the whatever, the Roblox site, to meet with them in a place, get them to confess what they've been doing on camera, and then have the cops show up and arrest them. Okay, all for show. So that's what these YouTubers are doing now. So the Chris Hansen is now going to do a documentary, and he's the one that's come out and he's openly calling Roblox out for this. But what he's not doing is, and I don't know, be fair, maybe he's not aware of, but I'm just like, how could you not be aware? Like, this has been your whole career is about catching predators. How do you not know that 18, if you know what's happening on Roblox, then how do you not know that that's completely illegal for Roblox to set 17 is the age to consent to those kinds of games when it's 18 in many states? How does Chris Hansen not know that? Why isn't Chris Hansen, they're only going after these predators on the game, the users. He's fakety fakey fake. That's what I call Chris Hansen. He's fakety fakety fake. I'm like, man up, YouTubers, man up, legislators, man up, Chris Hansen. Go after Roblox for setting the age to 17 in violation of the age of consent 18. Man up, keep it real. Oh, but if they was real, they'd be going after this corporation, demanding they be prosecuted, not the users that's going in there. And by the way, now the ones that they're going after are ones that are somebody will say they're 12 or they're 13, and that's who they're trying to be with. But yet at the same time, there are people who are going into these games, and they're thinking, okay, well, they're 17 and older, so it's totally legit. Even though this person's 35 and you're messing with a 17-year-old, it's a little cringy at the very least. 17 is still a minor. And in many states in the United States of America, they're not able to make consent. But how is it the user's fault if Roblox is saying, well, the legal age is 17? Then how is that, you know what I'm saying? Roblox is committing crimes by soliciting minors into games who are not legal age of consent to do what they know is happening in those games. And until I see Chris Hansen and these bigger YouTubers demanding Roblox be prosecuted for violating the age of consent in their own policies, saying it's 17, until I see them say that, they're fakety fake. They're fake. All they care about is money. They do what's easy. They do what's popular. They do what they can sell easy. And instead of doing what's right, is go after that humongous corporate beast and tell Roblox, you are not king. You don't get to rewrite the laws about age of consent. We vote, we the people vote our legislators into office, and they decide what the age of consent is. You not king, Roblox, just because you got them billions of dollars. You're not king, and you're going to jail because you solicited minors to go into these rooms to make money, because every time they go into these games, the timing game, the microtransactions, the Robux that they buy, they make money off of all these millions and millions of games on this platform. They solicited people who are not of age to go into these games to be exploited, who are not of legal age. And they want to go after these little guys instead of this corporation. And I'm like, shame, 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 shame. Shame on the YouTubers. Shame on the legislators. Shame on the FBI. Shame on Pan Bondi, because she is in one of the states where it is illegal, and she was the attorney general who did not sue Roblox when Florida was her state, before she was a U.S. attorney. Okay, she was she was the Attorney General for Florida, and she did nothing about Roblox violating their own law. Nothing. And she, as the United States Attorney, is doing nothing. Not a zilch, not a nothing about the predator corporation Roblox globally exploiting children, and in our country violating the law by setting 17 as the age of consent when it's 18 in her own state that she came from. While she wants to talk about sexual predators that she's going after and blaming all the foreigners and the immigrants, she in her own state didn't, like, she's gonna just give corporation a pass. I'm calling them out. Right? And not just on YouTube either. And I'm just like, Chris Hansen, I'm going to be in your face. I'm going to be calling your name. I'm going to be saying your name. I'm going to call you out. If I don't see these people start demanding Roblox be prosecuted for violating the age of consent, I'm going to call them out as fakety, fake. Right? I'm like, nah, man, you ain't going to sit back and make a documentary and make money off of a documentary and exclude the fact that Roblox Corporation should be prosecuted for violating the age and soliciting minors. Until I see the feds going in there and these people calling for their prosecution, I'm going to be like, y'all need to shut up going after these little whatever people that been lured into these games, 17-year-olds that ain't even a legal age of consent, like trafficking empire. Like, no, man, you're not gonna do what's easy and then ignore the big beast in your face. Like, nah, man, that's not going down. I'm gonna call it out for what it is. I'm gonna keep on calling out. And I'm a little bitty channel, okay? And it's like, it's okay, because I'm gonna keep talking. Because, I feel moved, okay? I feel like I would not be a good Christian if I did not speak up and say what I know. And we are duty bound as Christians to stand up against just stuff like this, okay? And honestly, I miss playing on Roblox. I had a lot of fun on Roblox. There's actually a lot of really good games that's family friendly on there. And it's sad because little kids, I think they're afraid of, like, adults. And it's so bad what's going on there, and I don't think it's fair. I went on, I think it was Facebook, and there's so much trashing parents about what's happened on Roblox. Like, I'm like, what the heck? What is wrong with you? Like, first of all, they don't even know everything that's even going on Roblox, right? And I'm just like, ain't nobody sitting there for the entire second that they're playing that game. And you can't just totally think that kids are going to bring something that happened to them if they're embarrassed or ashamed or whatever to them. I mean, a lot of parents have really good relationships with their kids that they would, but there's a lot of kids that stuff happens and they don't tell their parents. I mean, it happens all the time, right? And kids just doing their own thing. This is a nuisance. Roblox is a nuisance, and it's wrong. But anyways, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. I wanted to be really thankful for this guy here because he did pull out of the Roblox Star program. But I'm gonna pray that he stops playing Roblox, because why are you encouraging? You're making so basically Roblox, when YouTubers play the games, it makes kids want to play the games too. And so that's going to lure them to a platform that you're saying all these horrible things are happening to. Dude, you're just going to have to man up and figure out some other skills and some other types of content to make. There's all kinds of games that you could play, but I'm just like, dude, you only went halfway. You left the STAR program, so I'm proud of them for that. But he just, like, this is not okay to keep playing Roblox and like luring other kids back to that platform with everything that is happening there. How can you do that? Like, this is just so wrong, man. It's just like, anyways, I pray that he will figure out something else to do for content. At least boycott Roblox. It's got to go. But a lot of them, that's what's going on. And it's a whole lot more than what's being said in the media. I want to say that. And as somebody who did play Roblox, I'll show you on my channel. Like these class actions, this happened back, this was last year. This was over a year ago. Okay. So if you go to my channel, you go to my playlist. Actually, wait a minute, go to home. So you scroll down and I've got, where are my playlists? It's like Roblox and other games. Maybe it's in here. I don't know. I may have moved it off my... I think if I haven't moved it off my page, I'm going to move it off my page. I'm going to, like... Here it is. Roblox and other games. So I've got 849 videos. I think I'm going to shut that... I'm going to shut that down. Right? But that's what I did, though, is I went in and I viewed all kinds of games. Like, The Simpsons was fun. That was a fun game. But this, you don't have to have violence. And you don't have to, you know what I mean, to be fun. Here's my art stuff. I have a lot of art. I did a lot of art stuff on there. But there was so many different types of games. And I never saw anything toxic in a lot of these games. Like, and I never went into the violent stuff. There was violence of any kind or horror type. I just, nah, man. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway soon, but I'm not going to be giving away. I'm not going to be giving away the Robux cards. But there's Minecraft, League of Legends, there's Xbox. Okay, so this was one of my favorite games too. It was a building game, and it was Build a Rocket. And it was by Mark Rober. What is happening? I'm clicking on pause and it's like changing. What the heck? You see what's happening? Okay, so this is the pause button. I don't know. Anyways, so this was a game that there was no toxic, there was no weirdos. I never saw really anything negative that happened in this game. This was my pink poodle that I built. This was built by Mark Rober. Mark Rober is like, he used to work for NASA, and he's got a pretty good size YouTube channel, and he developed this game, and I love this game, so I spent a lot of time in this game. And this was my pink poodle that I developed out of blocks and different like rocket ship parts. So, but there was nothing inappropriate that ever happened in this game. So, what I'm saying? There's a lot of really good games. There's millions and millions of games, but it's like they're so greedy. They don't care. They don't care. And they'll just let anything go, right? Hey, thank you so much. I'm losing my voice here. But I'm just really passionate about all this stuff that happened with Roblox, because if you see how many videos I have 849 videos. That tells you how much I loved Roblox. And I have not been on Roblox since last April because of just bad stuff that I saw and the emails that I had with Roblox and YouTube, and I'm just like, no, this is not where God wants me, and this is just bad. So I'm just like, I said it then. Okay, I said, mark my words, as I speak to you today, you will see lawsuits. The attorney generals are going to get these platforms. And sure enough, 14 state attorney generals have sued TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube. They are going after these platforms because of all the bad stuff that's been happening to kids online. And so that's the changes we're seeing now on our platform. And I know a lot of people are like really upset about it, but they're not seeing all the stuff. They're probably not even aware of all the stuff that actually happened to kids, right? And so it's been bad. And I have been, researching all these cases. This was a lawsuit. Where did I do with that? I think maybe I deleted it. But anyways, so there was 14 attorney generals. So I've been doing videos about all those cases where they were being sued, and this has been going on for a couple years now. So I don't know why all of a sudden Louisiana dropping a lawsuit against against Roblox is really making big waves when you have 3 lawsuits that was filed back in 2022. Let me find that. Whoop. So there's 3. Wait a minute. I'll find it. In here. I love this. This is great. Okay, so this is the video I had open earlier. This was from a year ago. April 6, 2024. So 3 Roblox class action lawsuits barely made any waves whatsoever. Like I had just under 100 views about these lawsuits. 3 class action lawsuits against Fortnite and Roblox, and nobody mentions it. So all of a sudden this guy, I think what's really what's making making it go viral is Chris Hansen, the To Catch a Predator guy, is now speaking out, and they had recent arrests of predators caught by big YouTubers who went into Roblox games and was like found somebody who was a predator and was grooming children, trying to lure a child, you know, preying on a kid basically. And so they set him up. They set them up and they lured them off the platform, met them somewhere out in public, and got them on camera to admit things that they did. And the cops came and arrested them. All on camera, right? So that's a big thing. And then Schlepp gets banned because they're like, we understand that you're doing this for, you know, good intentions, but you're violating the policies. You need to use the methods of you know, whatever. You cannot get private information from other users. That's not allowed. It's against policy. And you cannot try to meet them in person. I mean, they're lucky that they actually met somebody who was the age that he was. And one of the guys was like trying to pretend like he was just trolling these predator catchers. Like he was saying things like deliberately that was like illegal or grooming, pretending like he was doing it because he knew that person was the, you know, people trying to catch predators. So he was just like trolling them. So he tried to use that excuse, but he was really good in questioning them to get him past that and get everything on camera. He was actually really good at questioning and getting them to say things on camera. I was like really impressed. But the same thing is, they were lucky. What if that was somebody using a voice filter pretending to be somebody older, and, you know, just kids, you know, they do stuff like that, pretending to be a predator, you know, and then you're trying to lure this kid off of, that's the whole point, is you can't do that stuff without the permission of Roblox. But it was wrong that they banned him. I was like, dude, you could have just suspended him. Oh my gosh, you banned this guy who's been on there pretty much his whole life, right? And even created games, and they banned him, and so everybody's mad. It's the Schlepp chaos or whatever. But in the same regard, he did violate the rules. But he's like, well, what about these others? They're still on there. And I agree with him on that. You know, they're just being vicious and malicious. But I'm like, look, if you're going to take down crooked people, don't give them ammo to come after you, right? So, but Chris Hansen, I'm just like, dude, you cannot be luring players off of Roblox because you think they's a predator. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You cannot get their private information to try to verify whether or not they're a predator. You can't do that. This isn't like your show where, like, no, that violates Roblox policies, and those policies are set in place. Because just imagine this. What if somebody pretends to be a predator catcher, right? And is trying to get their information from them to, like, try to set up a sting operation or whatever. They can even use that as an excuse, too, that that's what they're doing. But, you know, they're wrong. And then one of the other guys that was on that team they had caught him where he was saying things that was so inappropriate. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to repeat what he said. I'm just like, yeah, you should have been banned for that. But nonetheless, he wasn't like, even though he did say things that was inappropriate, he was still somebody that was trying to catch these predators. But that Schlepp guy, he was actually a victim of grooming when he was younger. And I'm not even sure if he's an adult yet. I'm not sure what age he is, but he's like really young. He might be a teenager, but I can't believe they banned him. So everybody's like doing these protests on Roblox with their little Roblox avatar signs, free schlep. Like literally, you have a crowd of avatars in a game holding up signs to free schlep. They're doing Roblox protests, guys, to free this guy. And I'm just like, yeah, I think they should have suspended him because what he did violate the rules, and I think his intent was definitely to be helpful, but I would have been mad if somebody was like trying to get information from my kid, even if my kid was being a punk and acting like he was older than he was and was acting like, doing stuff he should not be doing. You still cannot be trying to get that personal information from other players because that's, I don't know. Anyways, don't give them fodder to use against you if you're fighting corruption. Okay, I'm just saying you gotta cross your T's and you gotta dot your I's. You gotta make sure you don't break no rules because they're gonna use it against you because that's how it works, right? Anyways, so I do hope that he's like, I'm never going on the platform again. But I feel like Roblox needs to humble themselves. They need to like unban him forever and give him a suspension because there's a whole lot of people doing much worse stuff than that kid did. Shame on you, Roblox. Shame on you for what you did to Schlep. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. Right? I'm for restoring his account. Although I think that, he did break the rules. I've seen people do much worse. Oh my gosh, much worse, and never even held accountable, like at all. Like at all. Like they got their nerve. Then they need to acknowledge that that it is more than what they're describing in what they're saying publicly. They're announcing that blocking users under 17 from social hangouts with private spaces and experiences permanently set in private spaces. No, that needs to be 18 because they know what's happening in these types of games. And I am demanding every YouTuber, people need to be raising all kinds of cane and demanding that they respect our legislators who have passed the laws making it 18, and they need to own up what's happening in these rooms and these games. Oh my goodness. Anyways, so that's going to be it for now. I hope you all have a blessed evening, and thank you everybody stopping in the chat. I will go over to your channel or whatever, and let me go ahead, in fact, drop your link while I'm at it. Y'all go check out these channels and say hi. Let me drop this link real quick. I don't know if people are going to watch this one. I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep talking about it, keep talking about it, keep talking about it, and I'm not going to shut up. And I don't care if I only get one viewer, whatever. YouTube is shadow banning me because they're mad at me because I'm calling them out for stuff that they've done. I don't care, YouTube. I've got other platforms I can talk on, YouTube, and I get plenty of views over there, so y'all keep doing what you're doing. And you're shadow banning me is, I'm just going to use that against you, right? And showing you for what you're doing. That's what they do. If you call them out for their nonsense. Oh well. I'll make sure that I send that in to the attorney generals that you're trying to be malicious to people. And I tried to contact YouTube, without calling them out. And yeah, that didn't do any good either. So, whatever, YouTube. It's all good. Wait a minute, I'm missing something here. Well, well, ah, I'm missing a comment. Okay, guys, stay tuned because I'm gonna keep up on this. Only channel subscribers. One of my things is missing. Oh well. Anyways, thanks for stopping in. I hope you all have a good one. Bye. Oh, it's over here.